We built a multi-million-dollar brand from turkey legs and the culture, but we still ended up going bankrupt.
This is Pocket Watching with JT.
Hey, Pocket Watchers, I am certified financial planner Jayson Thornton, and this is the Bankruptcy Breakdown. This is where I react to the financial failures of your favorite celebrities and influencers so you can get the financial lesson without going through the trouble. Let's go pocket watching. On this episode, I will be reacting to the bankruptcy filing of the Turkey Leg Hut. But before I dig into the numbers, I have to give this brand and its owners their flowers. Back in 2015, the Turkey Leg Hut was founded by Nikia Holmes and Lindell Price, but it did not start as a brick and mortar restaurant. No, see, it started out as a vendor, right? A pop-up vendor at the Houston Rodeo. So huge crowds of people going to the rodeo looking for something to eat, and there they are as a vendor selling turkey legs, but not plain turkey legs. They were selling stuffed turkey legs. Imagine a turkey leg stuffed with macaroni and cheese or shrimp Alfredo or dirty rice, all of these different flavors inside of a turkey leg. And when the public got a hold of it, it went viral, super viral on social media. They didn't open up a brick and mortar restaurant until 2017. But by 2019, the Turkey Leg Hut became a cultural landmark. What am I talking about? Well, anybody and everybody, when they went to Houston, they made it their business to go by the Turkey Leg Hut. And I'm not just talking about everyday people. I'm talking about celebrities. When they made it to Houston, they made sure they went and got something to eat from the Turkey Leg Hut. Now, not only were they viral for the food, but they were able to make it onto the biggest cultural podcast there is, The Breakfast Club. Now, this was before they moved over to Netflix. This was back in the day when you could watch The Breakfast Club for free on YouTube. This was an absolute stamp showing that this brand was for the culture. This brand represents Black excellence. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how do they end up on the bankruptcy breakdown? Well, apparently on March the 26th, 2024, the Turkey Leg Hut and Company LLC filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the Southern District of Texas. Now, for those of you who are unaware, there are different types of bankruptcy. Most people, when they hear the word bankrupt, they think of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That is total liquidation bankruptcy. That's when you are walking away from your debts. You get to keep certain exempt assets, but everything else is going to be liquidated. The court is going to take control of your assets, sell them off, get as much money as possible, try to pay off your creditors as much as they can, and you get a fresh start. That is not the type of bankruptcy that the Turkey Leg Hut filed for. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Chapter 11 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy are payment plan bankruptcies. These payment plans last between 3 to 5 years. It gives the person or the company the opportunity to just get all of their creditors to the negotiating table, figure out a payment plan to get back in good standing with most of their creditors, and whatever unsecured debt is left after the payment plan is over, that is gone. Okay, now let's take a look at what kick-started this bankruptcy. One of the major reasons why they filed for bankruptcy, according to the documents I have, is that they lost a judgment to one of the co-owners and investors by the name of Steve Rogers. Now, Steve Rogers was awarded $931,111. Why? Well, he wanted to buy out of his ownership. He invested early into the company and he wanted to walk away and take his ownership out of the company. But there was an issue. He wasn't getting the money that he claimed he was owed. So he sued the Turkey Leg Hut and he was awarded the nearly $1 million. What else? Well, we also learned that gospel singer James Fortune and his wife was suing the Turkey Leg Hut over a $300,000 investment that they put into the company. But not only were there investors who was trying to get paid, it was also the state of Texas itself. Yes, the state of Texas claimed that the Turkey Leg Hut owed them money as well. Well, how much money did the state of Texas claim that they owed? Well, apparently they owed nearly $2 million. They owed $1.95 million in taxes. But what type of taxes are we talking about? See, most people think about income tax, but no, they did not owe $1.95 million in income tax. They owed that much in sales tax. Let me explain something real quick. At my firm, I represent taxpayers, individuals, and businesses in tax issues with the government. And I have had many clients come to my office or we meet virtually who have been in this exact same position. How do you end up owing the state this much money in sales tax? Understand that sales tax is not a tax on the business. See, that's income tax. Income tax is something that the business or the individual is going to pay based off how much money they made. This is different. Sales tax is a tax on the customer, right? So just imagine, right? You go to a store and you buy something for $1. You know by now that it's going to be more than $1. Let's just say it's $1.10. The store owner gets the dollar. The extra dime, the 10 cents, is actually money that they are collecting for the state. They keep the dollar, they put the 10 cents off to the side. Now, when you are a business owner and you have to collect sales tax from your customers, you give the government their money based on how big of a company you are, right? If you're a very small company, the state may say you can give us our money once a year. You don't do that much in sales, just give us our money once a year. If you're a little bit bigger, they'll say, give it to us quarterly, 4 times a year, give us our money. If you're even bigger, they'll say, we need that money once a month. And the really, really big companies, sometimes they'll say, we want our money once a week. Now, understand there is a time difference between when they collect the sales tax and when they have to give the sales tax to the government. Here's the problem. When you are a company and you're having issues with your cash flow, you start to look at that account with the sales tax money in it. And all of a sudden, these business owners get the bright idea and they say, you know what? Why don't I take a loan from the sales tax account that I have? There's like $10,000 in there, $3,000, $50,000, whatever it is. There's a bunch of money over there, and I don't have to give that money to the state for another 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 2 months, whatever it is. And they say to themselves, I'm going to take a loan from that money, buy some more inventory, sell it, pay the sales tax back. The government will never know, right? Great idea. Here's the problem. The reason why the company needs to borrow from the sales tax account is because they're already mismanaging the money that they should be using. And because you're already mismanaging the money that you should be using, what makes you think you're going to be able to get this unauthorized loan from the government, sell whatever you need to sell, do your business, and then pay the government back. Most of the time, you end up like this. You end up owing the state a bunch of money because you borrowed from the sales tax account and you never were able to actually make enough in profit to pay it back. And that is most likely what happened here. Okay. So listen, if you're out there, you had that situation, contact the Pocket Watcher. I will do the best I can to help you out because I do this all the time. But that is most likely why the turkey leg hut owed the state of Texas $1.95 million in sales tax. Remember, sales tax is not a tax on the business, it's a tax on the customer. All right, what else do we have here? They also had debt to vendors and back rent. So they owed U.S. Foods, according to the lawsuit, $1.3 million in unpaid grocery bills. You're a restaurant. Your grocery bill is really one of the most important things that you're paying money for. This is the food that you are preparing and selling to your customers. Kind of got to stay on top of that bill. Also, they owed rent. So the company where they were paying for the restaurant spot, they owed back rent. Even worse than that, they owed back payroll. There were employees that complained that they went weeks and weeks without getting paid. That is a big issue. So at this point, they filed for bankruptcy. And to be honest, that was the smartest financial move for them to make. Why? Well, when you file for bankruptcy, you receive what's referred to as an automatic stay. An automatic stay is basically the bankruptcy court saying everybody has to stop, take a break. Anyone who owes you money, they can no longer aggressively attempt to collect on that money. They cannot go into your bank account and take the money. They cannot, kick you out of the restaurant spot, right? If the landlord is saying they're trying to kick you out and evict you because you haven't been paying your rent, that is all put on pause. So filing for bankruptcy was the smartest financial move they could make in this situation. It gives them the opportunity to continue to operate, set up a payment plan, and get back into good standing. So let's break down the numbers in this bankruptcy. Based on the information that's in the paperwork, they reported monthly gross income at about $138,484. That sounds pretty good. That means they were bringing in about $1.6 million in annual revenue. That sounds great. But the problem is they were underwater. They were reporting that the actual net worth of the company was a negative $5.7 million. Well, where was the money going? Well, they reported that the expenses were $74,549 a month. Well, hold on. Let's just take a second here and think. If your monthly gross revenue was about $140,000 and your expenses were about $75,000, that means you're netting and bringing in about $60,000 a month to the good. So if you're making $60,000 to the good, what's the problem? Why can't you pay the state of Texas their sales tax? Why can't you pay your vendor the $1.3 million for the food? Shouldn't be an issue. So when I look at these numbers, $140,000 coming in a month, $75,000 going out, I'm scratching my head and I'm saying to myself, I think somebody is playing with the money. There's got to be some mismanagement here because your margins look okay. Well, who is it? There's really two main people here. We have Nikia Price and her husband, Lindell Price. Who is the one that is mismanaging this money? Well, I'm not the only person who thought that there was a problem. The trustee over this bankruptcy also believed there was some mismanagement going on. And according to the trustee, he thought it was the husband. The husband, Lindell, he's the problem. He is the source of the mismanagement. Well, what did the wife have to say about this? What did Nikia think? Well, according to the paperwork, she agreed. Now, just weeks before the bankruptcy was even filed, Nikia Holmes publicly fired her husband and co-founder Lynn Price and a bunch of other employees. Why? Well, Nikia claimed that there was financial discrepancies going on and potential mismanagement that was discovered during a financial review. She claimed that the bankruptcy was necessary, right? It was a necessary step to clean up the books, to figure out what's going on. The company's actual financial reality over years is just chaotic spending going on. What is going on with the numbers? Now, the trustee also said that there was some issues with Mr. Price because apparently when his wife Nikia fired him from the company he co-founded, she also served him with divorce papers. Yeah, that is going to be a problem. Now, the trustee said that he was interfering with the operations of the company. Also said that he was mismanaging the property of the company. He even alleged of sabotage, claiming that a freezer had damages of about $15,000. Just mysteriously, it was destroyed. Also claimed that there was threats of physical violence and harassment on the employees. All right. Seems to be a problem. So they barred the husband and I guess now ex-husband, Lindell Price, from the company. So now that the bad man is gone, now that, the trustee is involved, everything should be cool. But I will say that maybe there was some red flags in this situation. Maybe someone should have figured that maybe putting Mr. Price in charge of the finances of this company wasn't the best idea. Now, some of you may be saying, well, JT, what's the red flag? Why do you think it was probably a bad idea to put him in charge of the money? Well, the reason why I think that is because back in 2015, remember the same year that the Turkey Leg Hut was founded, back in 2015, Mr. Price was indicted on a 29-count federal charge for stolen identity and tax fraud scheme. Yeah, the federal government claimed that Mr. Price was gathering names, social security numbers, birth dates, and they were filing fraudulent tax returns, gaining or rather stealing over $100,000. $129,000 is the fraudulent tax funds that this man received. Now, I want you to understand that I would say allegedly, but he pled guilty. All right. Now, remember, the company was started in 2015, and this man pled guilty to federal tax fraud charges in 2016. Okay. He was indicted in 2015, pled guilty in 2016, and he was sentenced to 30 months in federal prison. Seems like a big red flag that maybe when he gets out of jail, you don't put him in charge of the money. Just maybe. Now, some of you may be saying, well, JT, listen, man, you have to give people a second chance on life. You cannot hold them to one mistake that they make. And you know what? I agree with that. I agree. People do deserve a second chance. Give this man an opportunity to re-enter society, and he will make sure that he never goes back to jail again. He learned his lesson. He started an amazing business with his wife. Why would he ever end up back in jail? Well, apparently there's a couple of reasons why this man would end up back in jail. So let's go over that. Apparently, in 2020, this man had some issues. In 2024, a federal grand jury indicted Mr. Price for conspiracy to commit arson. Yeah, let's break this down a little bit. So the prosecutors alleged that he paid a crew of people to set fire to a bar by the name of Bar 5015. One of the things about this bar is that it was owned by the former partner, Steve Rogers. Remember, I talked about it earlier. Steve Rogers was a silent investor in the turkey leg hut from the beginning. And he won that lawsuit of nearly $1 million. He was one of the key reasons why the company had to file for bankruptcy. Okay. Now we have the federal government claiming that Mr. Price paid people to set fire to the man's other business. Okay. They said it was revenge, right? Now they claim to have overwhelming evidence. What could that be? Well, if you're looking on the screen right now, you will see surveillance video, right? A surveillance video of the people actually walking around, pouring gasoline all over the bar, and then setting it on fire. Some of this overwhelming evidence is that one of the people who pled guilty to the arson claimed that he was paid by Mr. Price. It's kind of bad when one of the people who get caught for committing arson claim that you paid them and they have documented proof of the so-called payment. So that's kind of bad. But not only that, he also received additional charges, not just arson, but also apparently drug trafficking. The federal government, the FBI, alleged that Mr. Price was selling drugs directly out of the Turkey Leg Hut restaurant property from around 2019 to 2022. Oh my God. All right. Seems kind of bad. So, okay, listen, they had to file for bankruptcy. There was mismanagement by Mr. Price. They filed for bankruptcy. This put the automatic stay on all the creditors, giving Mrs. Price, or now, Mrs. Nikia Holmes, giving her the opportunity to set right everything that Mr. Price put in the wrong spots. So everything should be good now. Now that the bad guy is gone, and Mrs. Price has the opportunity to clean up this brand, clean up this company, continue the Black excellence that they established before. What happened? Well, didn't quite work out the way that Mrs. Price or Mrs. Holmes thought that it would, because the bankruptcy judge actually converted the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, reorganization, into Chapter 7 bankruptcy, liquidation, effectively shutting down the business. Now, why would he do that? Why? Well, according to the bankruptcy, the reason why the federal judge decided that he was going to shut this company down, take control of the assets, and sell off as much as he could to pay off the creditors is because of a few things. Number one, Mrs. Holmes, Nikia Holmes, she failed to file tax returns. Now, she was under the supervision of the court. She's in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. She should be filing tax returns for the company, but apparently she did not. So if the judge is looking and you're supposed to be doing stuff and you're not doing it, that's a problem. Also, here's a big red flag: unreported insider payments. What does that mean? Well, according to the trustee, he discovered that a substantial sums of money were being transferred to Nikia Holmes and her ex-husband, Lindell, Lynn Price, without proper disclosure, right? You're supposed to be telling people where the money is going, right? You are literally in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. You are operating the company for the benefit of the creditors, not for the benefit of yourself. So when you have extra money, when you're making a profit, that profit needs to go to the trustee so the trustee can then pay out to the creditors. They were paying themselves under the table, apparently. That's a problem. Another problem is they didn't have any insurance. The business allowed their insurance coverage to lapse. That is a problem when there's a lot of fires going on in businesses in Houston, and they would like to know that the company had some insurance. So not having insurance, that is a problem. But also, she wasn't showing up to meetings. So when you're in Chapter 11 bankruptcies, there's different meetings that you have to go to, different interviews with the trustee. And according to the paperwork, Nikia wasn't showing up. She wasn't cooperating with the process. So apparently the judge wasn't happy with that. And he converted the Chapter 11 bankruptcy into Chapter 7, effectively shutting down the company. And on November the 22nd, 2024, the company officially shut down. The bankruptcy judge signed an order allowing the landlord of the building to terminate the lease and proceed with foreclosure. Right. And on November the 26th, the iconic turkey leg hut sign was officially removed from the property. Oh my God. Now, normally, this would be the end of the story. But this is not a normal story. No. This is not a normal story at all, because not only is Mr. Price, the ex-husband of Nikia, currently under federal charges from drug trafficking and conspiracy to commit arson and all of that, Nikia also had her own run-in with the law. Yeah. Now, has nothing to do with the financial mismanagement of the turkey leg hut. No, apparently, Miss Nikia, she has a particular type of fella that she is attracted to, because she was arrested because of her association with a violent criminal. Yeah, Nikia Holmes had a new boyfriend by the name of Jonathan, a 38-year-old man who was wanted for aggravated kidnapping and aggravated assault. Apparently, based on the documents that I have, this man allegedly kidnapped his ex-girlfriend. Keep in mind, Nikia is apparently the new girlfriend, but this man kidnapped his ex-girlfriend, held her captive for 6 hours, and brutally beat her with a tire iron. Now, while this man was, out and trying to avoid the police, he was held up in the home of Nikia. When the authorities approached Nikia and asked her where the man was, she did not corroborate. She said that she didn't know where the man was. She definitely said that the man was not in her home. No, the man's not in the house. The problem is, while the deputies were questioning her about the whereabouts of this man, they spotted the man running out the back of the house, jumping over the fence and trying to flee away. They caught the man shortly after, and Mrs. Holmes was taken into custody. Oh my God. Now listen, the story is still not over. The story's not over. Why? Because just a few weeks ago, based on the filming of this episode on March the 2nd, 2026, Miss Nikia announced to the world that the brand is coming back. Yes, the turkey leg hut brand is being rebirthed, brand new, coming back. And she claimed that this brand carries my story, my scars, and my strength. The rebirth isn't about proving anything. It's about honoring what I survived. So apparently it's making a comeback. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm rooting for the brand. I'm wishing the brand the most success possible. I hope you get back to where you were and even better. But let me tell you guys something. If you are having financial problems right now, I strongly suggest that you follow the Pocket Watcher 7 Money Rules. If Lindell Price and Nikia Holmes, if they only would have followed the Pocket Watcher 7 Money Rules, they wouldn't have ended up where they were. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about number 1, budgeting. Number 2, emergency savings. Number 3, debt planning. Number 4, insurance planning. Number 5, tax planning. Number 6, wealth planning. And number 7, estate planning. If you follow these 7 rules, I can tell you right now, you are not going to end up going bankrupt. If the Prices would have followed this, they would have never ended up going bankrupt. So I'm telling you right now, go to the website pocketwatcher.net. Learn about the 7 money rules. Also, if you do not have a budget, if you do not have an active plan of how you're going to get out of debt, go to the same website, pocketwatcher.net. Sign up for my free financial planning app, the Pocket Watcher app. In that app, you can create your own budget, track where your money is going, and you can create your debt payoff plan. It is absolutely free. All you have to do is plug in your email, create your own password, and you will start your path to financial freedom. And of course, if you have a money question for the Pocket Watcher, just go to pocketwatcher.net, click the Ask JT button, fill out the form, and when I get time, I'll do the best I can to get you an answer. Now, if there is a celebrity or an influencer who has filed for bankruptcy and you're just scratching your head trying to figure out how the heck did they end up going broke, put their name down in the comments of this video. All right. And when I get time, I'll do the best I can to get you a video. Thanks for watching.
Are you looking for real financial advice? Thornton Financial is here to help. Certified Financial Planner Jayson Thornton specializes in tax and wealth planning. Are you living paycheck to paycheck with no retirement plan? Do you need help with the IRS? Book your free consultation with Thornton Financial today. Budgeting, savings, debt management, and retirement. Even tax debt settlements. Get the advice you need to live your best life. Book your free consultation appointment today. Go to www.thornton-financial.com.